Here are today's headlines. Malacanang says it has no ill feelings against the lawyer who filed a complaint to the International Criminal Court against President Duterte. Concerned groups filed criminal charges against former President Noynoy Aquino and those involved in the Dengvaxia issue. Over 2,000 drug surrenderers avail of drug rehabilitation in Western Visayas. An outdoor food camp showcasing Baguio's signature scenery opens on Valentine's Day. Good day, I'm Pia Rosas Morato. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. Malacanang said it had nothing against the lawyer who pushed the International Criminal Court to investigate the alleged extrajudicial killings in relation to the government's war on drugs. Here's our report.
Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque said President Rodrigo Duterte does not have any ill feelings towards lawyer Jude Sabio, who filed a communication to the International Criminal Court, noting that the president did not give any importance to the complaint in the first place. In a newspaper interview, Sabio said that he felt tremendous pressure and assumed that his life was in danger from the implications or consequences of filing the complaint. Roque said that if Sabio felt like there was a threat to his life, he should report it to the Philippine National Police. Roque meanwhile expressed confidence anew that the preliminary examination being conducted by the ICC Office of the Prosecutor would not lead to an actual investigation. Duterte earlier said that he was happy to face the ICC to assert the legality of his aggressive campaign against illegal drugs and was willing to be shot if he will be found guilty. The president also questioned the ICC decision to examine the Philippines first when there were killings all over the world happening every day. Acting on the communication filed by Sabio, ICC prosecutor Fatou Bensouda announced last week the start of a preliminary examination into alleged extrajudicial killings in the country. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Bench Bondo.
The importation of 250,000 metric tons of rice was approved by the National Food Authority Council to increase the country's current buffer stock. NFA Council Chairman Leoncio Evasco said that the rice stocks will be obtained through government-to-private importation or open-tendered procurement. The imported rice stocks will begin arriving by the end of February, and the full shipment is scheduled to be in not later than the end of August. As of February, the country has 121 days worth of rice stocks remaining on an equivalent of 3.8 million metric tons. Evasco explained that with the NFA Council tied to a low buying price of 17 pesos per kilo, it is cheaper to import rice instead of buying it from the local market, where private traders have caused an artificial price hike due to hoarding. He expressed hope that the prices of rice would stabilize as soon as the import rice arrives. Evasco reassured that the public that there's no shortage of rice and that the depleting supply is being addressed. Customs Commissioner Isidro La Peña said he is ready to relieve port personnel who will not be able to meet their collection targets this month. The BOC chief noted that district collectors, deputy collectors for assessment, chief of formal entry division examiners, appraisers, and all personnel in charge of assessment will be relieved if they failed to meet the revenue target. With this, La Peña clarified that the relief will take effect on March after the collection period in February. Preliminary data shows that the Bureau fell short by 12% from its January collection target. La Peña is, however, optimistic that the Bureau will reach the 2018 collection target of 598 billion pesos. Meanwhile, the BOC chief awarded 12 of the 17 district collectors for meeting their revenue targets. La Peña also announced that the appointment of 4 new officials of the Bureau from the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency. Good news for couples in the Luzon area. The supply of roses, chrysanthemums, anthurium, and other potted plants from La Trinidad, Benguet remain abundant as Valentine's Day draws near. Andy Dolte, president of the La Trinidad Cut Flowers and Ornamental Growers Association, said since February 9, around 7 to 10 truckloads of these flowers are shipped daily to Metro Manila and other parts of Luzon. Each truck carries an average load of 12 to 15 tons of assorted flowers. Through a special permit issued by Baguio City Mayor Mauricio Dumogan, allows trucks to pass through these city roads, making regular and unhampered deliveries possible. Dolte also said that this February, prices of rose per bundle are pegged as high as 400 to 600 pesos, depending on the quality and the length of the stem. Dolte said the quality of flowers in highlands have continuously been improving after local growers adopted new farming methods and with assistance of the government. Families living in temporary shelters in Marawi City have received family packs distributed by the Office of Civil Defense. Here's our report.
A total of 352 family beneficiaries of transitional shelters in Barangay Sagunsongan, Marawi City received family packs from the Office of the Civil Defense Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. The family packs contain kitchenwares, sleeping gears, and hygiene kits, which could cater the basic needs of the displaced families. OCD-ARMM prioritizes to give a total of 6,000 family packs to families who will be housed in Biyaya ng Pagbabago Transitional Shelter Site. OCD-ARMM Regional Director Raylindo Aninion assured those displaced families who are still in evacuation centers that they will receive family food packs when they transfer to the temporary shelter site.
Sana makatulong ito ng malaki sa inyo sa inyong panibagong simula sa inyong pamumuhay.
Fatima Matuan, one of the beneficiaries, expressed her gratitude that aside from the shelter, they were also provided with family packs.
Masyado kong masaya dahil pagbukas niya sa box na yun, halos lahat ng kailangan na doon.
Pursuant to its mandate and mission, OCD continuously provide assistance to the displaced families of Marawi Siege. To recall, OCD spearheaded the post-conflict needs assessment of the 96 barangays in Marawi City along with different government agencies. For PNA Newsroom, Sweet Lukman, Philippine Information Agency.
Still to come, groups filed criminal charges against former President Noynoy Aquino and those involved in the Dengvaxia issue. A rare megamouth shark dies after being snagged in a fisherman's net in Negros Oriental. These and more when the PNA Newsroom continues.
I was given by the President the marching order to do something about the environmental problems in Boracay and make a report after 6 months. We will be very serious in implementing this instruction of the President, and at the same time we will also be serious in enforcing the law.
Isa sa mga recommendations, and based on the roadmap, we'll be requiring the mining companies to rehabilitate the areas. Looking at the possible amendment of the mining law, the DNR is really participating in the discussion.
Safe to say na no new mining projects hanggat wala pa na legislation or yung amendment dun sa...
Actually, Secretary Simatu has not approved any new mining. Priority of Secretary Simatu is number one, to make sure that we comply with the provisions of 9003, that is closing of all dump sites. Siguro we will be looking yung sa mga technology, mga new technology on how to address the garbage problem. In terms of anti-illegal logging and intensified forest protection, we will be trying to neutralize illegal logging hotspots. We make sure that all our plantations will be maintained and protected from fire. We will be using also technology. We call it logging technology, the use of computer and advanced technology to monitor what is happening inside the forest.
We need vision to tell the story of what the out to people. You can only be able to reach out to people through thank you very much.
Charges have been filed against former President Benigno Aquino III and other officials involved in the Dengvaxia controversy by a group who alleged that the anomalous procurement of the vaccine led to the deaths of some of the children who have been vaccinated. Here's our report.
The Vanguard of the Philippines Incorporated and Volunteers Against Crime and Corruption filed a criminal complaint before the Department of Justice against former President Benigno Aquino III, 2 former cabinet officials, and several former and incumbent health officials in connection with the controversial anti-dengue vaccine, Dengvaxia. Dr. Francisco Cruz, who earlier testified in the Senate inquiry on the controversy, also joined the VACC and VPCI as a co-complainant. Along with the former president, respondents in the complaint included pharmaceutical company Zuellig, which supplied the controversial Dengvaxia vaccine, and Sanofi Pasteur, which manufactured the vaccine. The VPCI and VACC claimed that the procurement of the Dengvaxia was irrefutably fast-tracked and may have transgressed pertinent provisions of the government procurement law. The group said that Aquino and the other respondents should be charged with multiple homicide and physical injuries through criminal negligence because of the deaths, dengue shocks, and other adverse side effects blamed on the vaccine. The complainants pointed out that the purchase of the vaccine was approved by the previous administration even if the program had no allocation in the 2016 national budget. Former Budget Secretary Florencio Abad and former Health Secretary Janet Carin, 2 of the respondents, welcomed the case and insisted that the procurement of Dengvaxia was in accordance with the law. The DOH suspended the vaccination program in December 2017 after Sanofi Pasteur said Dengvaxia poses risks to those without prior infection. The deaths of 14 children who received Dengvaxia are still currently under investigation. For the PNA Newsroom, I am Joycean El Rocamora.
The Department of Interior and Local Government is now certified fully compliant with the Freedom of Information Law by the Presidential Communications Operations Office. DILG Assistant Secretary and FOI Focal Person Epimaco Densing III said that when people can freely and easily access information on matters of public concern, corruption can be lessened at all levels of the government. Densing said for the FOI to be more effective, it has to be cascaded down to the grassroots, as corruption is worse at the local government level. The DILG has already completed its FOI manual and uploaded this to its website for the public to see. Signed by President Duterte in 2016, Executive Order No. 2 mandates all government offices, including government-owned and controlled corporations, state universities and colleges, and LGUs to observe full disclosure and transparency in serving the public. Aside from the DILG, 380 other government agencies have complied with the FOI order. The provincial government of Davao Oriental and the Office of the Presidential Advisor on the Peace Process are reaching out to indigenous peoples by providing sustainable livelihood. Here's our report.
The Office of the Presidential Advisor on the Peace Process is set to provide funding for sustainable livelihood projects for the indigenous peoples or IPs living in Davao Oriental's ancestral domains. 1 million pesos worth of livelihood projects will be given to each of the 16 identified ancestral domains of the province in support of the provincial government's drive to uplift the lives of communities. In the consultative meeting, the IP leaders have listed potential projects to be submitted to the agency, including support to livestock production, high-value crop production, support to abaca farming, corn and upland rice farming, and tilapia production, among others. IP leaders are also looking at programs to empower the women and youth sectors through trainings on arts and crafts such as handicraft making and dagmay weaving. With Davao Oriental's ancestral domain covering a total of 300,000 hectares, the provincial government feels it is high time for the government to focus its interventions on the ancestral domains. Aimed at addressing poverty, the provincial government under the leadership of Governor Nelson Dayanghirang puts emphasis on inclusive governance. The governor incorporated new strategies to the Provincial Development Physical Framework Plan, the Ancestral Domain Strategy for the IPs, and Jama'ah Strategy for the Muslim communities, which recognize an overwhelming priority to the marginalized sector. Seeing that IP communities are among the most vulnerable to the recruitment of communist insurgency, the Nagkakaisang Lingkod Bayan ng Davao Oriental Barangay Outreach Caravan has been working at winning the hearts and minds of the people by reaching out to them and addressing their needs. Through inclusive governance, the provincial government hopes to shift policy from concentrating in the lowlands to broadening services and benefits to the hinterland villages in the uplands. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Rom Dulfo.
A city councilor is seeking to regulate the extraction, collection, and selling of beach pebbles and other similar aggregates in Puerto Princesa, Palawan. Councilor Roy Gregorio Ventura said the ordinance that he filed at the Sangguniang Panlalawigan targets to impose fines of 2,500 to 5,000 pesos and imprisonment on violators, including foreigners who take large pebbles as souvenirs. He explained that authorities should closely monitor the collection and sale of pebbles to prevent beach erosion. Ventura explained that his proposed ordinance is in line with the administrative code of the city of Puerto Princesa that sets the policy to develop the city as world-class ecotourism destination. Ventura said resorts, hotels, and other business establishments that would violate in the future shall also be fined and shall face cancellation of business permits or cease operations for 1 year. A rare juvenile megamouth shark died after it was accidentally caught in a fishing net in Negros Oriental. In a report from the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources in Bayawan City, a Bantay Dagat team learned that the megamouth shark was accidentally caught in the drift net of fisherman Dionisio Chiu. Marine scientists decided to conduct a necropsy of the megamouth shark for scientific research, but it remains that were already buried in the shoreline of Sitio Sampaguita in Barangay Villarreal. A team recovered the shark's remains and took samples since very little was known about the rare species. In the Philippines, Bohol Sea has one of the highest recorded number of megamouth shark sightings in the world after Japan and Taiwan. This incident is believed to be the first megamouth shark stranding in the Philippines this year and the second in Bayawan City since 2006. Up next, over 2,000 drug surrenderers avail of drug rehabilitation in Western Visayas. An outdoor food camp showcasing Baguio's signature scenery opens on Valentine's Day. These and more when the PNA Newsroom returns.
In order to inform and empower our citizens better through mass media, we have endeavored to widen its reaches and strengthen its capabilities with this new Mindanao Media Hub. This facility will serve as the government's main broadcast hub in regions 10 to 13, including the ARMM, boosting the government's signal to these areas while tailoring content specific to the people in the region. The Mindanao Media Hub is a full broadcast facility capable of sending out 10 kilowatts via its terrestrial transmitter and 1 kilowatt via its digital transmitter. This will also feature 4 state-of-the-art studios, each equipped with its own production control. In keeping with the government's vision, the Mindanao Media Hub will be capable of gathering news in the field using its digital satellite news gathering system to complement the other array of communication technology. This facility will house the Presidential Communications Satellite Office along with its attached agencies such as the People's Television Network, the Philippine Information Agency, the Philippine News Agency, and the Philippine Broadcasting Service. The Mindanao Media Hub. Para sa Bayan.
Less than 10% of the nearly 30,000 drug surrenderers in Western Visayas have received outpatient or community-based rehabilitation. The Department of Health said only 6.1% of about 10,796 surrenderers who were screened for substance abuse have undergone treatment services. Western Visayas has 2 treatment and rehab centers, one in Pototan, Iloilo, and another in Negros Occidental. DOH Senior Health Program Officer John Richard Lapascua said that those with mild to severe substance abuse have to be monitored as the failure to follow the treatment algorithm may cause a relapse. Those with low-level addiction are referred back to their community to undergo a 1-month general intervention. Those with a mild level of abuse are returned to their barangay anti-drug abuse council for a 4-month of rehabilitation. Those with moderate level of abuse undergo a health facility-based patient rehabilitation for 6 months with 1 session per week. Users with a severe level of abuse have to undergo 2 years of rehabilitation composed of 6 months inpatient rehabilitation and 18 months aftercare. As Pag-asa issues a severe weather bulletin, the provincial government of Davao Oriental has activated its incident command system as it braces for Tropical Storm Basha. All available resources such as equipment, first responders, and food packs are already on 24-hour standby as the province is under blue alert status. The Provincial Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council is continuously monitoring the situation in the municipalities, city, and the barangays as cloudy skies and scattered rain showers have prevailed in most areas of the province. The provincial government is also closely coordinating with the Department of Education for the automatic suspension of classes for preschoolers and kindergarten students. Meanwhile, although the water level at the Aragon Dam in Katil Town is well below the 21.2-meter critical level, it is still closely being monitored by provincial personnel. Baguio City is gearing up for Valentine's Day with the opening of a food camp that serves international cuisine for visitors who love the city's signature cool outdoors. Here's our report.
For a unique Valentine's Day experience, couples and families can head off to the Baguio Country Club Outdoor Food Camp and enjoy a variety of Japanese, American, Mediterranean, Mexican, Chinese, and Filipino cuisine capped with sumptuous desserts. Formally opening on Valentine's Day and will last until June 30, the food camp will be open from 10 in the morning until 10 in the evening without entrance fee. BCC resident manager Malu Galista said the prices are very reasonable at an ambience which is authentically Baguio, on a park lined with pine trees with a mini camping area for the children. There will also be nightly entertainment to add to the serenity of the place, filled with the warmth of an outdoor fireplace. Galista said that BCC comes up with family-oriented activities and venues like the Christmas Village. Andrew Pinero, Community and Guest Relations Manager, said the food camp is also the club's contribution to the city's tourism, providing new and alternative activities for tourists and the locals alike. Pinero said as part of the club's advocacy for environmental protection and preservation, the food camp was decorated using recyclable materials as proof of their commitment. Baguio Country Club is the only 5-star resort in the Baguio City. It recently received a Hall of Fame award from the ASEAN Green Hotel after winning the prestigious award 3 times in a row for its sustainable and friendly environmental practices. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Philaine Cervantes.
The city government of Davao ordered the suspension of classes in all levels in both public and private schools in Davao City because of Tropical Storm Basha. The latest bulletin from Pag-asa indicated that scattered to widespread moderate to heavy rains will prevail in the next 24 hours over Visayas, Caraga, and northern Mindanao, including Davao City. However, there will be no suspension of government work at the LGU level. Cancellation of work in the private sector is at the discretion of the employers. Residents in flood and landslide-prone areas are urged to be always on the alert and prepare for preemptive evacuation if necessary. The Provincial Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council in Agusan del Sur also declared suspension of classes in all public and private elementary and secondary schools effective Tuesday until the province is removed from the tropical cyclone warning signal listing by Pag-asa.
Senator Antonio Trillanes IV is no longer welcome in Davao City as he was declared persona non grata by the City Council for claiming that Davao has the highest incidence of murder and rape in the Philippines. In a video circulated on social media, the senator claimed before an audience in Chicago that Davao City is #1 in murder incidents and #2 for rape cases based on PNP crime statistics in December 2015, when President Rodrigo Duterte was still the city mayor. Davao City Vice Mayor Bernard Alag lambasted Trillanes for lying before the Filipino community in Chicago. The Vice Mayor also challenged those who attended the forum to visit Davao City and see for themselves if there is any truth to the senator's claim. The Vice Mayor also branded Trillanes as dangerous, citing his actions during Oakwood Hotel mutiny in 2003 and the Manila Peninsula takeover in 2007. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Rom Dulfo.
Here's another look at today's headlines. Malacanang says it has no ill feelings against a lawyer who filed a complaint to the International Criminal Court against President Duterte. Concerned groups filed criminal charges against former President Noynoy Aquino and those involved in the Dengvaxia issue. Over 2,000 drug surrenderers avail of drug rehabilitation in Western Visayas. An outdoor food camp showcasing Baguio's signature scenery opens on Valentine's Day. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. To check out these and other stories, visit the PNA website or follow the Philippine News Agency on Facebook and Twitter. For more stories about the government and all that it is doing for the Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. And that's your daily dose of the hottest news and the latest information that you need to know from the PNA Newsroom. I'm Pia Rosas Morato. Good day.